Welcome to Sailing Avanti. We are Gerard and Jacqueline, sailing our 41-foot monohull Avanti around the world from Cape Town, South Africa.
The sun is rising, it's early morning, and I have to pinch myself because we're in Panama. We're almost going through the Panama Canal on a boat. Like, how insane is that? It's just amazing how far this journey has come so far. And of course, going through the Panama Canal, we don't really know what to expect as boat owners, where we're going to throw lines or how anything like that's going to work. So I'm actually going through with another boat today. While Gerard's going to be busy working on the hard, I'm going to go through with a German couple and just see what to expect and what we could do extra. And the birds are singing good morning and the monkeys are busy behind us, and yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm going to go through the Panama Canal.
So the guys are busy with the first coat of anti-foul, and we are putting glue at the bottom so that you can see that they properly cover it with the second coat, and then they're going to do a second coat of black and a third coat of black. So the blue is just so that we can see the first coat is covered properly, and when it wears through you can start seeing the blue once the boat's in the water for a while. Cheers! Good luck! See you soon! Bye, Leafy! So Jackie is away today. She's busy transiting the canal with the German couple and with the guys from Pacific. And as it's raining outside, I'm mostly doing inside jobs. I did a winch this morning. I just greased and assembled it. And at the moment I'm doing our seacocks. So like I said before, we have 8 of these, and I'm just putting in I've disassembled them. I'm putting on some grinding paste on the brass seating surface, and I'm just working it in the hole so that it grinds a little bit smoother where it's a little bit corroded, so that the seal is still maintained and it's less sticky. And then after that I'll just clean them out completely and put some waterproof grease all around this and inside the actual cock that's mounted on the hull, to make sure it glides smoothly, and I'll assemble again.
While Gerard had to work and keep an eye on the guys painting the anti-foul, I was en route to go through the canal as a line handler. The advisor was almost an hour early and climbed on board like a pro. There are 2 options for going through the canal. You either start in the afternoon with the first set of locks, spend a night on the lake, and then complete the second set of locks in the afternoon, or you start at 3 a.m. in the marina or 4 a.m. in the anchorage and complete everything in one day. We are not used to going through locks, and this was completely new to me, and a lot more strenuous than I realized it would be. And with painful arms after painting most of the previous day, I was rethinking my life choices. But the locks passed quickly and we tied up for the night. The next day we passed through 3 locks again, and we will give all the info about how the canal works when we go through on Avanti. But please leave your questions and we'll make sure to answer all of them in that week's episode. After the last locks opened, we were in the Pacific with no dramas, only smiles. Welcome to Panama City. We have anchored finally, and I'm heading into the city. Gerard is actually coming to Panama City with the bus. It's only $3.50 from Cologne to get here, and the reason why he has to come here, not just to come fetch me, but we need to apply for a French visa. And the reason for that is the next set of islands, which is about 35 days away, is the French Marquesas, and we need a French visa to visit these islands. So the French embassy actually gives an exception to people that have been outside their home country for more than 3 months. they can apply for this special French visa or French Polynesian visa from Panama City itself. So that's where we'll head to tomorrow. Applying for the French visa isn't difficult. It's just filling out a form and then booking an appointment. To get an appointment, you can wait about 2 weeks to get an appointment. They say closer to February, the high season, you could wait up to a month. But once you've submitted everything and you've gone for the appointment where they take your fingerprints, which is what we're doing tomorrow, you can wait anything between 4 to 6 weeks to get the visa approved. So it's a little bit of a waiting game, and that's why we're applying for it now while we're in Cologne, rather than waiting until we're in Panama City and only applying then, because then the waiting game just gets longer.
What are you doing, Jacqueline?
Trying to get everything in my bag.
Why?
What is it? It was 125 pages for our visa application to go to the French Polynesian Islands.
And why you like to go there?
Because we need food on the way to Australia, and water, fuel, see some islands on the way. Let's go.
After our visa application, we went to the famous fish market in Panama City for our last adventure with our friends from Pacific. Unfortunately, we had to get back to the hard, and by the time we got back, the final coat of paint was applied to our Vanti. They also had to move us to make space for another boat that was behind us to get launched. So this will be our spot to complete the rest of our boat jobs. Today I'm going to swap around our anchor chain. So the part that's connected to the anchor and it's normally in the water, we normally don't put out our whole anchor chain. We've got about 60 meters. So we don't put the whole chain out depending on the depth. And the part that's in the water obviously corrodes more. It's a galvanized chain. So the part that's in the chain locker the whole time is in better shape. So I'm swapping it around so that the better part is actually connected to the anchor, so that we don't corrode the one half too much and have to get rid of the chain. But there is a splice as well where the anchor chain changes to road, and the previous guy spliced it in a way that it can't go through the windlass. So Jackie's gonna re-splice it. She needs to just check the knot and practice it. But yeah, so the piece of chain that's connected or spliced into the road is quite corroded, as you can see. So I've actually cut the chain so that we're losing about half a meter of chain, but it's highly corroded. So this portion over here will be connected to the anchor, and the part that's connected to the anchor now, we will cut this rope as well and we'll splice that into the chain. We've just finished painting our chain markers. So the old chain had like red paint to show where 10 meters, 20, 30, 40 meters are, but now that we've swapped the chain around, the markers don't work anymore, and they pretty much faded off the old paint. So we've put on some new paint. So the yellow, for instance, is the 30 meter mark. So there's just I've just painted 3 spots of yellow. The red is 40. We've painted some blue as well for 10 and 20. And Jacqueline's also finished the splice between the chain and the road. This is our new splice between the chain and the road. It looks very neat, very impressed. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully this goes through the windlass. The paint is dry now, so I'm going to put the chain back in and the road and see if this glides through the windlass. Hopefully it does.
What's going on? What's going on?
We have a leak. And I'm just cleaning the anchor locker. So give it a good rinse while the anchor and the road is out. There's always some muck from muddy anchorages in there. And if it's dirty, these holes might block when you sail, so it needs to be able to drain. We tested our new rode to chain splice and it glided through the windlass as expected. So now we can deploy this without worrying that the rode might get stuck in the windlass. One of the nighttime jobs I need to do is to change our raw water or seawater pump impeller. The engine just has, I think, about 280 hours on now, but I did buy 2 spares. So I'll open this one up, and even if it does look good, I will change it. It's always the idea to keep them new. So yeah, you basically just take this cover off, and then the impeller is like a rubber impeller. This is the new one. So it just fits into a casing. So it should just pull out, and before you put this one in, you just lubricate it with some glycerine. And there's a new O-ring for the cover, and that's just push the new one in and put the cover back on. As simple as that, hopefully. You do get special pullers to take these impellers out, but 2 long nose pliers work just as well. Just be careful not to damage the rubber impeller while you pull it out with the pliers. The new impeller is in. The old one actually doesn't look too bad, so there's no missing veins. Sometimes these veins get cut off by barnacles and they end up in the seawater heat exchanger. So the old one is still it's got all its parts, and I'll just keep this one as a spare because there's actually no cracks or anything in it yet. But the new one is in and it's all lubed up with glycerine. So now I just need to put the cover back on.
We used the cruiser's workshop almost daily, as I sanded and revarnished our cockpit table.
Today I'm cleaning our diesel system or fuel system. So we've got 2 tanks. We've got a keel tank for like long-term storage, and we don't know what's in there, but normally if I take diesel out of that to our day tank, which goes directly to the engine, I first pump it into jerry cans to check that it's okay, and I actually put it on deck in the sun for as long as I can before we put it in the day tank. Apparently that helps a bit with the diesel bug. But as we're on the hard now, I'm cleaning our day tank, which feeds directly to the engine. So I've got a few filter systems on there. I've got one of these Raycor filters or water separators as the first filter. Then I've got another water separator and filter, and then the final filter that sits on the engine itself. But I've changed the filters in Grenada in July. It's now January, and the filters were quite clean. But when I took the first filter out over here in Panama, I definitely saw some diesel bug sitting on the filter, and you can see in the sight glass of the Raycor filter there's also definitely some stuff coming from the tank. If you look inside there, you'll see it's also quite dirty. So we are definitely starting to get a little bit of growth in the day tank. So today I'm draining the day tank completely into jerry cans, and then I filter that and put that back in the keel tank. But then once the tank is empty, it's quite a mission to get it out and empty. Then we've got a little handle luckily on the tank that you can open, and you can actually clean the tank. So I plan to completely clean it with water and a bit of bleach and let it dry out and flush it out completely, so that hopefully the bug is at least gone in the day tank. And yeah, I need to clean this filter as well, and then I'll replace the first filter again, although it's only been in for 6 months. So I've drained our diesel day tank. It's about 100 liters, but it was only about half full, so 50 liters drained. And I've opened the handle, and as you'll see now that there's quite a lot of gunk in here. And this is basically after a year and a half ago, when we put the new engine in, I cleaned the whole thing out. So it's amazing how much of this diesel bug grows in a diesel tank. So now the nice job of cleaning all of this out starts.
Deliciousness.
Nice. We're just painting the sail drive leg today, so we've got some of this quite expensive epoxy primer left, and that's good for aluminium. So the sail drive leg is aluminium, so we're priming the leg with that. We've prepped it already, and then we're probably putting 2 or 3 coats of the primer on that. It dries quickly, so about an hour and a half between coats. And then we've got some Trilux. The marina has given us some Trilux 33. It's aluminium or anti-foul developed for aluminium. So because we're using so little just to paint the sail drive, they've got an open can. So yeah, at least we don't have to buy a full can, but the Trilux will work well for the sail drive leg. Join us for next week's episode, where we search for as many leaks as possible and try and seal them before we head into the Pacific. We also take walks between jobs in the forest right next to the marina. Please remember to give us a like or leave a comment if you enjoyed the video. Also subscribe if you want to see when the next video is launched. Thank you to our Patreons who support the making of these videos. You can join them by clicking on the link in the description below.